Hey, young girl. We are back with a new episode this week. I hope you all have been having a great week so far. We are in May, and what is the fifth month of the year already? So I hope you all are staying focused on your goals and having a little fun while you're at it. Um, and I appreciate and just want to say thank you to everybody who has been watching, listening, sharing, showing love in the comments, liking, and just overall your support to Hey Young Girl, the podcast. It is on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube, and anywhere you can search podcasts. So I really appreciate all the support. So today I want to talk about talking through some of the difficult conversations, having the difficult conversations. The difficult conversations are hard to have, but you need to have them. Especially if the person means something to you or are very important to you in your life. Sometimes you want to just sweep it under the rug, act like certain things didn't happen or didn't take place. But if you want longevity in your relationships and you would like to preserve your relationships, continue to have respect and trust in the relationships, sometimes the conversations do need to be had, okay, if it's worth it to you. Sometimes in the heat of the moment, um, you may need to take a pause and maybe have the conversation later when you aren't as heated or tensions aren't as high, and you just stick a little pin in it and then have the conversation later. Because a lot of times you aren't really interpreting what the person is saying. You are maybe not even listening to understand. You are just talking just to get what your point is across. Now, you do have to understand that everybody thinks differently, everybody was raised differently, and we do have very different perspective on things. So if the person is somebody that's important to you, I encourage you to listen to what it is that they are saying, to understand, not to just let the person get their word out. And you don't always have to be right. I had to learn that one myself. I don't think I was actually trying to be right, more so, or just trying to be heard. But everybody has a different perspective on things. So if this is how this person perceives things, or this is how they understand, and you understand differently, that doesn't mean that you both are necessarily right or wrong. It's just that you have two differences of opinions. Okay, that don't mean that you're bad or they are. It's just that sometimes you have to maybe agree to disagree so you can move past whatever is going on. You have to agree to be on the same page if that's what you want to do. Sometimes you have to agree to disagree and walk away. You may not come to an understanding. You just move past it. Maybe y'all don't have to be in each other's lives because you have so different perspectives, and that can be okay. But I'm saying is a lot of things can be solved or resolved if you can talk it out. And when you do, make sure you are at a place to be able to receive and not to just, be heard and just to get your point across. Have some understanding of what the person is saying. Maybe you didn't even hear the person correctly, or maybe you thought they said something else. A lot of times you may say something to somebody and that person brings it to somebody else and add a couple of words into it, or reword whatever it was the person told them in a different way. So you may have to go directly to the source. Don't go off of hearsay, because people lie and people make up stuff all the time. So if it's something that you want to learn or know about somebody, you might want to go directly to that person and not listen to, you never know what experience that person had with the individual. So if it was a bad experience, of course they're going to bring you something bad about the person. They could be a cool person, but to them they weren't. you know Everybody else that they dealt with was cool, but just to this person that they weren't. So, maybe go directly to the source. Everybody's going to treat everybody, you know, differently based on how they are treating them. for the most part. Also with your kids, don't just assume they understand what you're saying. Your word is born because you're the parent. Your kid have feelings and they have stuff that's going on and stuff like that. Don't just, be so wrapped up in your world and your work and the bills and responsibilities that you don't tend to check in with your kids and see if they are okay. You know, it can't just be work, 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 school, school, school. You need to tap in with your children to make sure they're okay and everything's going on okay with them at school. Maybe they need a hug. Maybe they had a bad day, or they got into it with somebody or whatever. But you the type of person that's always so caught up in your own world and whatever it is that you're doing that they can't even come and talk to you about what's going on. And you're supposed to be a place of refuge and a place of safety for your child and a place of protection that they can be open and honest with you. Don't be in a place to where you can't even accept things from your child if you feel like it's not, uh, following this guideline that you felt like they should be, and they should do this and they should do that. These kids have their own lives and their own personalities and everything as well. They're just not a thing or your tool or your accessory. They're humans too. They're going to grow up, and that is a perfect opportunity to, even if it's something that you did them, be woman or man enough to go back and be apologetic to your child, show your child affection, and show them that you are, you make mistakes, you're human too, and that you can be woman or man enough to come back and apologize and maybe, talk about what happened and why you did what you did as well. You can't be always just, they'll never be open and honest with you because they're fearful of getting in trouble. So they may not tell you certain things. So you need to be open to having that type of dialogue with your child, okay? um, you know, these conversations do need to be had. We need to really be focusing on our mental health as well as our physical and our spiritual health as well. You need to be able to have a peace of mind, a faith in something, and a belief that this too shall pass. And everything is not always bad. Everything do have resolutions, and there is love light at the end of the tunnel. You do have good days. Don't only always share the bad experiences that you have with people. Share some positive things that happened and everything like that. Even if you grew up in a certain kind of environment, you know, and you decided to do things differently. I mean, was every experience in your household bad? So don't just, you know, be so loudly to express everything that is so negative and that's so bad. Let's share some of these positive experiences that you're having. You let people know that there is good and there is great and all of that. Let's get more on having these difficult conversations, sharing more positivity, sharing more love and affection. You may have grown up and not having a lot of hugs and all of that. I love you to your child, but don't, carry that on to your children as well. Let's do some things differently. Hug your child, tell them you love them, you are proud of them, and things like that, and be open to their mistakes and, be able to then guide them in the right direction from the mistake. They come and tell you something that happened and you just blow up. Oh, no, you didn't. Oh, I can't believe you did that and this and that. You know, listen and, give your opinion on it and say, well, because of what you did, this was the consequence. Did you like the consequence of that action? So maybe if you would have done this a little differently, then you may have not gotten this consequence, this disciplinary action. Was it worth it? So these are a couple of things that you can do differently if you are approached with this same, type of scenario in the future. Then now they have some tools from you, the wiser one, to be able to handle it differently in the future, that it'll give them a better outcome. All right. So, let's be more open to having these difficult conversations if we need to. You want to try to preserve some of these relationships, it ain't always about I'm good, I'm by myself and all that. No, humans need human interaction. We need that touch and that affection and stuff like that. Like, everybody may say not that they don't, but deep down, I believe that we all do. We need that human connection. And COVID was a great example. When we were all isolated, a lot of mental health went down. There was a lot of suicides and stuff like that. So you should know from that the human connection is needed. So don't always think to throw people away and cut them off and stuff like that. Some of these relationships can be resolved with having a deep conversation, y'all. So, build yourself up. If you need to get yourself stronger and more confident and things like that, to where you can handle the deep conversations and you aren't breaking down emotionally and stuff like that. And you're starting to raise your voice and scream and all of that when you're starting to have the conversation. You're losing your temper. You just have to work on yourself mentally, physically. And, it takes practice. If you've been doing it a certain way for many, many years, and now you want to change that, it's going to take you time. So give yourself some time, give yourself some patience. If you want to do different things, you got to learn how to do it. So, all right, y'all. And I'll see y'all next week. And thank you again for tuning in. Bye.